getting on. Sat by the fireside, pondering on. Picture book, pictures of your mama, taken by your papa a long time ago. Picture book of people with each other to prove they love each other a long time ago. Picture book, picture book.
A live look at beautiful Gulfstream Park, an absolutely gorgeous Thursday afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Acacia Courtney, and we have 10 races coming up on today's card at beautiful Gulfstream Park. And again, we want to extend a big thank you to everybody for continuing to watch and follow all of the action here at Gulfstream. I'll be taking the helm today on this 10 race card. We have a lot going on though, and we do want to remind you, as always, unfortunately, due to everything going on and concerns related to coronavirus, our doors are continuing to be closed to the public. That does now include even licensed owners for the safety of everybody. But you can watch and wager at home. That's the good news. You can stream everything at gulfstreampark.com/racing. So go and check everything out there. You can get tips from me, Ron, and Jason, as well as our entire Spanish team too. And don't forget, you can wager on everything on the First Bet app and on expressbet.com. So again, don't forget, you can keep an eye on all of the action through all of those methods, and you can also follow us on social media. Here's a look at all of the ways you can see everything that's going on. The analysis team here, both in English and Spanish, and of course our track announcer, Pete Aiello, and Gulfstream Park at Gulfstream Park as well. So we're taking all of the steps we need to keep you updated on all of the action here, but we do still have just a couple of weeks left of the championship meet. And that does mean we have a couple more opportunities to play Beat the Expert. Tomorrow, it's Ron. Last week, I had a first couple of winners on the card. Ron said, "You're doing well, you're sweeping the card," and then I never had another winner, and that's usually how it goes. But you can go onto our Facebook page or gulfstreampark.com. There's a tab for Beat the Expert. You can enter there. 10 race card tomorrow. You have until first post. If you pick more winners than Ron Nicoletti, you have the chance to win one of those great Beat the Expert polo shirts. And as always, let us know you're playing. Now you have all of our social media handles. Let's take a look at what we're offering today as far as the wagering menu. Over 3,000. Already growing $3,500 in that super high five that starts in race number 1. Any race with 7 or more runners. Big pool today, $1.5 million is the guarantee in race number 5. That starts to the 20-cent Rainbow Six, the last 6 races on the card. A couple of pick 5s, couple of pick 4s, all the usual suspects, and a lot of fun racing. So we'll dive right in, and I'll be going along explaining some of the different types of wagers, as we do have a lot of new fans in the last couple of weeks that have been tuning into the sport of horse racing. We really appreciate your support as always. But race number 1 does kick things off. It's a maiden claiming event for $16,000 for the 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf. It does start our early pick 5, first 5 races on the program. This wager is always a mandatory payout, so it cannot carry over. And I wanted some coverage, 3-2 currently on the number 7. In this opening leg here. Excuse me, I was on the wrong day as far as the conditions. It's a maiden 12-5, 6 furlongs on the main track. Number 7, Jack Beanstalk, taking all the early money, but wanting some coverage. I had to trim in a couple of the other races using 2, and I wanted to spread a little bit more using 3 horses in race number 5. So a $36 play. And that number 7, Jack Beanstalk in the opener, is probably the horse to beat for trainer Norm Cassie. Had a solid race last time out. Does pick up Luis Saez. I did also think that the number 6, Capitan Fofo, for trainer Antonio Sano, who do note will be ridden by Luis Reyes. Couple of decent races in the last few. Was well beaten 2 starts back to be second, but miles ahead, came back to win again, and has been a win machine recently for Eddie Plesset Jr. A few jockey changes throughout the card, but our track announcer Pete Aiello will be up a few minutes after me to keep you updated on all of those changes. As we turn the page to race number 2, mile and a 16th on the turf, maiden claiming event for 4-year-olds and upward, $25,000. I went with the number 5, Dylan Rocks. I thought that this one, first off, the claim for Jane Sibelius Belly has some tactical speed, and when dropping to this level last time, since coming down from New York, second time here at Gulfstream, first time Jane Sabelli, could be an interesting one, and Paco Lopez will be aboard this horse. The number 2 winning factor will probably take quite a bit of money as well, as he has kind of been knocking on the door and does also have some speed. Race number 3 now, we continue with the maidens, 5 furlongs on the turf, maiden claiming event for $25,000 for the 3-year-olds. And I will admit, I had a little bit of a tough time with this race. I kind of begrudgingly landed on the first-time starter, Candy Coma. Carlos Montalvo picking up the mount to this one. And the reason I say begrudgingly is that there's quite a pedigree on this. Now gelding, debuting as a gelding, was gelded in April. Gelding by Twirling Candy. Now the mare was 1 for 6. Her only win was sprinting on the dirt. She never tried the turf. But this one is half to grade 1 winner Dazzling Gem. So there's quite a pedigree. The mare has been a very good producer by Twirling Candy. Only cost $38,000 at Keeneland September. And also debuts for $25,000 tag. Given the purchase price, that is a logical move. But also being that was purchased into the barn of Wesley Ward, just a couple of questions. But looking at some other opportunities in here, I kind of felt like this one, given the work tab and given how we know Wesley Ward does with first-time starters, going to be very fast out of the gate and may just run away from the rest of the field. I did back it up, though, with another firster, the number 3, El Gran Pichon, who was the other one that did kind of intrigue me most. Sibling was a 5-time dirt sprinter, never tried the turf as well, so we'll see what we get for this one, who's by You Lucky Man by Exchange Rate, Florida bred, debuting for Luis Ramirez. We'll go now to race number 4, and this is the race that I really like, a price horse. I landed on the number 2, El Zeus, for Benny Carajilla, who's stretching back out in distance. 2 starts back. I know that this one, going the mile, did finish behind the horse who's going to be big favorite in here, in the 3 Steadily. But I thought El Zeus looked a bit sneaky in a race where I didn't completely trust the favorite, and I'm looking for a price somewhere on this card. So I landed on El Zeus. Victor LeBron been riding in very good form lately. I got him home on a price horse yesterday, and this one has some speed in a race that there just doesn't seem to be a lot of genuine pace signed on. Now, the number 3 Steadily, first off the claim for Victor Barbosa, absolutely will be the favorite. Irad Ortiz going to be aboard this one. Maybe these new connections are just going to say there's not a lot of speed. Let's just send. That could be the case, but I looked at this field and I said, hey, maybe a good time to try out a long shot who's 12-1 on the morning line. Now that is the first 4 races. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll check out today's Rainbow Six and a whole lot more.
And they're off. Second in the 2 path. Ground bumper inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Acacia Courtney joining you in the Gulfstream Park studios as we continue on with today's Thursday card, but we're also taking a look at what's coming up tomorrow on Friday. As always, the Stronach 5 is back, and we have a $100,000 guaranteed pool. You can wager on first.com/bet. That's 1/st.com/bet. Wager on everything there. Here's the sequence. We've got a couple from Laurel, the Maryland Jockey Club, Santa Anita, Golden Gate, and Race 10, our nightcap from Gulfstream Park in play. It's a $1 base wager, but that low 12% takeout is one of the big draws and makes this one of the best bets in racing. So hopefully you're going to take part in tomorrow's Stronach 5. Lots of action in a nice compact amount of time. So that's coming up tomorrow. And let's Take a look at what's coming up a little bit later on today. $1.5 million guaranteed jackpot pool in today's Rainbow Six. I wanted to spread using 4 horses in races 6 and 8, so I did find a single. I'm using 3 horses, the same 3 horses I used in the cash out of today's late pick 5, Rainbow Six, 20-cent base wager. It's the last 6 races on the program, and your goal is to try to be that one unique ticket. I wanted to spread, hoping to get a little bit of a price, and I wasn't really quite sure about how the pace might play out. You've got some interesting drop-down runners in race number 6. Using 4 horses there, my anchor, my single in race number 7 is going to be Shanghai Sweetheart. Speed, third time out with Victor Barbosa Jr. Had a nice win, 2 back, and a good second last time out. I think this one can dictate the pace in there. Then I spread again using 4 horses in race number 8. I think this is a very tricky race, and if you can get a little bit of a price in here, this may be one to help your Rainbow Six ticket out a bit. I'm using 3 horses. Wasn't quite sure what to do with Gioeli for Todd Pletcher. Did end up including that one in the Rainbow Six, and then 2 deep in the nightcap with Mystical Moon and Good Solution for a $57.60 play. Today's Rainbow Six does start in race number 5, and this one is a maiden claiming event for $25,000. 3-year-olds going 5 furlongs on the turf. And my top pick is going to be the number 4 Palace Kid, who does go from one good barn to another. Started out first 5 races with Mike Trombetta. Now first off the claim for Dave Fox. Paco Lopez going to be in the saddle. Last couple of races were sprinting on the turf. 2 back was going at the maiden special weight level here at Gulfstream. And last time out, a big step forward when dropping in for the 25, finishing a good 3rd behind Young Raymond, who's been in solid form. And that was also with being stuck with an outside post sprinting. Going from post 10 when sprinting, very difficult. Has some natural speed. Blinkers go on today, maybe a little bit sharper out of the gate, maybe a little bit follow through, and also a much better post. So I think that that'll be key for this one. You kind of have to use the 7 Word Man, a $200,000 son of Bodemeister, who did debut for $32,000. Second time out, keeps Luis Saez. It's Todd Pletcher, finished 3rd behind the aforementioned Young Raymond, who did come back out of that race to win. Let's go on now to race number 6, 6.5 furlongs on the main track, $25,000 claiming race for the 3-year-old fillies, and this starts today's late pick 5. Similar kind of makeup to the Rainbow Six. Last 5 races, this wager can potentially have a carryover into the next day's late pick 5 if we have some big prices. I'm using 4 deep in race number 6, same 4. Again, my anchor is going to be Shanghai Sweetheart in race number 2. Here in the late pick 5, I made it a little bit more affordable, so I trimmed. These are the 2 horses I like best in race number 8. If you remember, I spread in the Rainbow Six. So the 3 Sir Seamus and the 4 Bye Bye Man. Same 3 in the 9th and the same 2 in the nightcap. So that's how I did see today's late pick 5 sequence. And as we look at this race number 6, I thought that this was a very tricky race. I landed on the number 5 Kimura because I think that this is going to be a situation where this filly by Proud Citizen, who will be ridden today by Luis Saez, is taking a drop in class and is potentially going to sit a very good trip behind the pace in here. I thought Words of Divine, who I respect and I respect the connections, has a lot of speed. Napa Rules, same kind of scenario. Second off the claim for Jorosino, a lot of speed. And then even to the outside, Reiterate, who's a little bit of the wild card for Mark Cassie, has the potential to be forwardly placed and did show speed on the main track 2 starts back. So Kimura has been facing really tough company. A couple of stakes races in there. Back to the dirt. Blinkers go on. I think that this one is maybe the horse to beat, but those other horses I mentioned look like they have some good form to go off of as well. We turn the page now to race number 7, 1 mile on the main track. Fillies and Mares, 4-year-olds and upward in this condition claiming race. I did land on the number 2. Again, my single, Shanghai Sweetheart, has a lot of speed. 2 good recent races. I think that this one is far and above the one to beat. The other one that I did include would be the 7 Passing Moments, who's been freshened up now since January 17th. Marcos Manessa is back aboard. Last win came at Gulfstream Park West, but that last race on the main track, 2 starts back, was against a notch tougher. So maybe this is just going to be a good spot for this mare to potentially take a step forward. We go now to race number 8, back on the grass, a mile on the turf, 16,000 non-winners of 2 event for 4-year-olds and upward. Race number 3, Sir Seamus, or horse number 3, excuse me, Sir Seamus, and again the 4, Bye Bye Man. These are the two I probably prefer the most in this race. What I like about Sir Seamus, first off the claim for Carlos David, who I know it's tough to claim off of Mike Maker. But Carlos David is about 30% first off the claim, and this one is stretching back out to the 2 turns on the turf. Has not run this low going 2 turns on the turf. The last time he went a distance of ground, it was for 30,000, 2 starts back. Dropped in for the 16 last time, but it was going 5 furlongs. Somebody picked him up. He's off the claim now. He goes back to the 2-turn distance, which I think is where he's most potent. And I love that he keeps Irad Ortiz up. The number 4, Bye Bye Man, gets Luis Saez, and plain and simple is a glaring drop down in here coming out of those 40,000 non-winners of 2. Significantly tougher competition he's been facing lately. Maybe this will just be a good spot for him. 2 more to go. Race number 9 is next. 6 furlongs on the main track. Allowance optional claiming for the Florida breds, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And my top pick in here is going to be the number 5, She's All Woman. I'm trying to get a little bit of a flipping the switch of She's All Woman and Flora Fantasy. We'll show you the stretch run of the last race for these two who come out of that race on February 23rd. This was first off the claim for Flora Fantasy, who's the number 5, out there in the green cap, closing very widely. She's All Woman, the 6 in the black cap for Bob Hess, I thought ran a very good race. What I don't love about She's All Woman is that she has in her last few just kept getting caught. But Flora Fantasy had a strong momentum on the outside, and I thought that this was one of perhaps the gamest performances from She's All Woman, who keeps Edgar Prado. 2 starts back, She's All Woman was off the layoff and was beaten by Flat Awesome Jenny, who's been pretty much flat awesome. Second off the claim now for Flora Fantasy. We'll see if she can make it 2 in a row. But what I do know is that we might get a little bit of a nice setup for She's All Woman, who can sit just off the speed of how sweep it is, and she's going to be a bit of a better price. Nightcap coming up now. Race number 10, the number 1, Mystical Moon, is going to be my top pick, dropping in class for trainer Brian Lynch. Had a good second last time out, third off the layoff, taking a drop, building off of that good race behind New Year, who'd been in very good form. I think this is the right spot for this one. And the number 7, Good Solution. It's interesting that first off the claim for Mike Maker last time didn't really fire as much as you would potentially expect. However, was beaten by a horse named Solar, who came back to win again when stepping up in competition. Luis Saez picks up the mount on the 7, Good Solution, second off the claim for Mike Maker. Those are my picks there. That's today's Thursday card. Stay tuned. Coming up in just a few moments, we'll have track announcer Pete Aiello with all the scratches and changes you need to know. Thank you very much for continuing to watch and support Gulfstream Park, and we hope you win all of your bets today, wherever you're playing, and hope you're comfortable at home and locked and loaded on expressbet.com and on the First Bet app.